Well, there's a lot for us to unpack in this one. Let's get into the deep dive. Hi, my name is... wait, something's not right here. Nope. Hang on just a second. Definitely not that. Ah, there we go. Right, hi again, my name is Sim and welcome to Sims Racing. As you might expect, I'll be analysing the latest footage put out by the people behind EA Sports WRC, titled Gameplay Deep Dive. Now, before we get into all that juicy stuff, I do want to point out the following. If you are here to watch and hear me glorify or annihilate the graphics and car handling, you've come to the wrong place. Let me explain, as there's a very good reason for that. First of all, you need to understand that the footage we are shown is from a developer build which is between a month and several months old. That means the graphics and textures are not fully representative of what the actual game will look like when it releases. You've probably noticed yourself that certain clips look completely off compared to others. In other words, we can have a general idea of where they are going with the graphics, but we can't draw any definitive conclusions from it. As far as I can tell, the simple screenshots we see in the video have been taken from one of the latest dev builds. Based on that, things look pretty good. Secondly, there's no point in dissecting the car handling either. The vast majority of the driving we see has been done by a developer on a gamepad and with the aid of quite a few assists. Sure, there might be a clip or two in there of John Armstrong using a wheel and pedals, but there's not enough for us to come even close to figuring out how the car handling will actually be. So, if you're still interested in listening to me rambling about the gameplay deep dive, then you are more than welcome to stay. The way this is going to go is very simple. I'll let you watch and listen to each of the chapters from the gameplay deep dive video first, before picking out a few things here and there I'd like to give you my thoughts on. Oh, and I won't tell you which location is shown each and every time, because that's going to get annoying very quickly. Right, without further ado, let's start with the intro, followed by chapter 1, stage details, as well as enjoy the fantastic narration by the lovely Molly Pettit, one of the reporters and commentators from the official WRC broadcast.
Welcome to the Gameplay Deep Dive for EA Sports WRC, where we'll look at everything you need to know about one of the most challenging, intense and exciting spectacles in motorsport, the FIA World Rally Championship. You'll experience over 200 rally stages with greater realism, fidelity and detail than ever before, across the most challenging locations in the world. Unreal Engine has also allowed the team to create the biggest rally stages in Codemasters history, with the longest routes now spanning over 30 kilometers. You'll be taking on these epic routes in some of the most exciting cars in rally history, all rendered in exquisite detail for the ultimate rally experience.
So, as I mentioned before, I believe the screenshots, which were taken by using the in-game photo mode, are from one of the very latest dev builds and show us more accurately what the game will actually look like in its final state. And I must say, I'm pretty impressed by the amount of detail we can see. We also have further confirmation of certain stage lengths spanning over 30 kilometers, so if you have a gym membership, you might want to cancel that one. I don't think most of you have the faintest idea of how intense and physically exhausting those runs are actually going to be. From the bonnet cam footage of the Lancia Delta HF Integrale, you can see that some of the roads will be pretty rough and bumpy. What we see here is a road untouched by any other car. So imagine what it will look like once dozens of cars have set off before you and the surface is all broken up and covered in ruts. Moving on to the next chapter, vehicle classes.
WRC will feature over 80 rally cars covering the entire history of the sport. From rally's humble two-wheel drive beginnings to the brutal power of the Group B era and the sophisticated technology of the current day, you'll take on your rivals across 18 different car classes.
Now, I will rewind past the title screen just a bit, because there are a few interesting things we can pick up on when it comes to the cars. First of all, I suspect we will have a redesigned version of the iconic Martini livery for the Lancia Delta HF Integrale based on the Lancia logo on the bonnet. It would look exactly like the Martini livery, but just without the Martini branding. We can also see that the Delta will have a second livery, which is Sainz's Repsol design. Then we find the VW Golf GTI Mark IV kit car, which has been decked out with a new colour scheme as well. Some of you might recognise that one from the good old days of the British Rally Championship, because that's Mark Higgins's blue and yellow car from 1999. I do see that there are a few sponsors missing though, but that's due to licensing troubles, the most noticeable one being Sony. Then we have the BMW E30 M3, which has also a new FINA sponsored livery based on the one Mark Duess drove in the late 80s, which is brilliant. Something which is not is the fact that they are still using the smaller snow rims on the M3 for tarmac. What comes after the title screen is pretty fantastic though. Every car from the 97 to 2011 class in all their splendor and glory. Starting off with Colin's Citroën Zara WRC from 2003, Petter Solberg Citroën C4 World Rally car from the 2010 season, a redesigned version of the Martini livery for the 2001 Ford Focus RS WRC, Henning Solberg's Ford Focus RS World Rally car from 2008, Manfred Stoel's OMV Lancer Evo 6 from 1999, which was actually a Group N car rather than a Group A in real life, which is a minor detail, the Mini Countryman World Rally car in its presentation livery. It does mention that it has a 5-speed sequential gearbox, which should actually be a 6-speed. Then we have Burnsy's Peugeot 206 WRC from 2002, the Seat Cordoba World Rally car which competed at the very end of the 1999 season, McRae's 2005 Skoda Fabia WRC and his 1998 Subaru Impreza S5 World Rally car. They don't show us the final two in the showroom, but we do see them right there at the bottom. Richard Burns' 2001 championship winning Subaru Impreza S7 World Rally car and Petter Solberg's Subaru Impreza S14 World Rally car from 2008. What follows are several clips showing the Opel Kadett C GTE for example. I don't recognize the livery, so it might be one that's been put together using the livery editor. Then we have Walter's 1986 Audi Sport Quattro S1 E2, Johan Rossell's Citroën C3 Rally 2, Will Crichton's Ford Fiesta Rally 3 and Neville's current Hyundai i20 Rally 1. Before we go over to the next chapter, I do want to touch on 3 minor things first. Number 1, I don't like that the back end of the cars in the showroom are not in focus. 2, the suspension of both the C4 and Focus World Rally cars still sits way too high, especially at the front. This was also present in Dirt Rally 2.0 and it still bugs me to be honest. And last but not least, I wonder why they decided to show the gravel spec of the cars in the showroom and not the tarmac spec. The car always looks best and most aggressive in a lower stance. Might be because the stage he has selected is a gravel one, so perhaps if we select a tarmac event, we will also be shown the tarmac spec in the showroom. Moving on to the following chapter, Rally 1 hybrid system.
The Rally 1 cars of the 2023 season also feature a complex hybrid system, just like in real life. Charge the battery by braking hard into a corner and deploy that extra power for more speed once you get back on the throttle. Adjusting the behaviour of this hybrid system and finding the right balance for each stage will be the key to your success. Do you go with an aggressive high-power strategy that drains the battery quicker, or a more cautious approach at the cost of ultimate speed? These are the decisions Rally 1 drivers have to make before every stage, and you'll do the same.
Now I don't think there's much more I need to say about the hybrid system itself. However, we can take a closer look at the service area interface though. Personally, I don't like too much bling or too many bells and whistles. A nice clean UI like this is exactly what I want. Everything's easy to find and easy to navigate. The only negative element I'll point out again is the faded background. Really don't like the abrupt transition from sharp to faded at all. Just give it to me sharp and crisp all around. What is great to see is them adding advice sections once more to help everyone understand what each option is about. Alright Molly, back to you. Take us through Chapter 4, Dynamic Handling System.
Codemaster's Dynamic Handling System is the foundation of your WRC driving experience, the most authentic and dynamic handling model the team has built to date. The team has received feedback from professional rally drivers to give you the most realistic driving experience ever seen in a Codemasters rally game. The handling system has been upgraded in several ways over previous titles, with improved tarmac handling, force feedback, aerodynamic simulations, drivetrain inertia, progressive braking, and much more going on under the hood. Every car behaves like you would expect it to in the real world. Whether it's a lightweight classic rear-wheel drive car or a punchy modern front-wheel drive car. The modern all-wheel drive Rally 1 and Rally 2 cars are incredibly sophisticated and have a distinctive feel compared to similar cars from the Group A and Group B eras. You'll also hear every bump, scrape, gear change and engine roar in incredible detail.
As I mentioned in the beginning, I won't dig into the dynamic handling system for the reasons I described. However, there are certain elements I do want to touch on. I did notice the carefully phrased wording that's been used to describe the handling model, to give you the most realistic driving experience ever seen in a Codemasters rally game. Most developers stop at the most realistic driving experience ever seen, so it's smart to add in Codemasters rally games. Oh, and John, I see you looking sharp there. Also, those socks look pretty warm and comfy. What else though? Well, I like the steady buildup of mud and dust on the car, and the same goes for dirt sticking on the windscreen. We also get a glimpse of the MG Metro 6R4 and, for the first time, the Hillman Avenger, as well as the Ford Fiesta Rally 4. In the footage of the Toyota GR Yaris Rally 1, we now have official confirmation that one of the 5 additional events will be Rally Mediterraneo, and that it's a tarmac event. Based on how the area looks, it's safe to say we have a representation of Tour de Course. The stage looks pretty tight and twisty, which is exactly what I was hoping for. I also love the fact that you can actually destroy someone's mailbox as well. Brilliant. The next chapter is one of the most important ones when it comes to immersion, vehicle audio.
High quality recordings of real world rally cars and enhanced audio technology truly immerse you in the environment.
Dirt Rally 2.0 has some of the most amazing engine and car audio ever designed, and it looks like we'll be treated to more of the same in EA Sports WRC. I am interested to know for which car they will be using the recordings of the Corsa Super 1600, as it's not in the game. Perhaps they'll redesign the audio for the Corsa Super 2000 or use it for one of the Super 1600 cars they couldn't get their hands on. Now, I've been told that aside from recording the car audio, they usually scan that particular car as well. Considering the fact that we know Suninen's 2020 Ford Fiesta WRC livery will be in the game, I wonder if that's going to be the case for the Abu Dhabi sponsored Ford RS WRC as well. Something else I picked up on is the blurring of the Martini logo on the Lancia Delta S4. Probably shouldn't promote alcoholic brands, because that would be one hell of a legal mess to sort out. And my goodness, that Delta S4 sounds so brutal. Absolutely loving it. What's also great to see is some behind the scenes action from the voice recordings, which is our next chapter.
You'll also hear many voices throughout the game, with your co-driver and chief engineer guiding you on your journey.
Hey Jet, brilliant result that. You were consistently quick throughout the entire event and it's paid off nicely.
And I'll be right there with you, providing insight into each rally event and your performances, just like I do on the WRC broadcasts. The car currently lining up was a bit late to the start following service. I'm sure the marshals will have something to say about that, and there may be a penalty involved.
I do love the accent of the chief engineer and, of course, Molly Pettit, who seems to really enjoy herself, doesn't she? The following chapter concerns locations, authenticity and seasons.
The 17 locations and over 200 stages of WRC are also the most realistic that Codemasters has ever built, and are all replicas of actual roads. For example, you can go from watching Rally Monte Carlo's Col de Torini stage on WRC Plus to driving on the very same iconic roads in-game. For the first time in Codemasters rally history, you'll tackle rallies across spring, summer, autumn, and winter. The various climates and weather conditions introduce unique challenges, and a drive through a hot summer stage will feel very different to tackling the same roads in wet and snowy winters.
First, we see a few shots of various recognizable buildings and places which can actually be found along one of the stages in real life, such as the viaduct on the Rio de Cañas stage in Spain. From now on, we can say with absolute certainty that stages in the game will be one-to-one recreations of real-life stages from the World Rally Championship, past or present. The top of Col de Torini being shown both in real life and in-game is great to see. It's not just the roads but also the entire environment around it that they more or less modeled in-game. Fantastic to see. I did notice that the in-game Yaris Rally 1 has white rims with a black hubcap. I wonder if we will be able to select black rims as well, because I actually prefer those. Looks like part of that Monte Carlo stage will be the same as in Dirt Rally 2.0, but instead of turning left at the summit, we will now turn right. Then we have our first glimpses of the various seasons we will be able to select. As far as I know, we're not getting dynamic weather as such, but this does look amazing nonetheless. It completely alters the stage visually, which is great, but not just that, winter conditions will also affect grip levels and car handling, something which is clearly shown in the comparison footage of the Yaris at Monte Carlo. It's a fantastic way of keeping things fresh. What follows in the final chapter is all about driving tools and features.
WRC's highly detailed and authentic driving simulation model is the foundation of your rally experience. It is built to not only challenge the toughest of drivers, but to also introduce new fans to the world of rally. The game's dynamic handling system is supplemented by a suite of tools and options to give you a driving experience that matches your skill level. You'll be able to fine-tune your assist settings to your liking, and you can also choose between 2 different pace note systems. In the real world, rally drivers use a complex language of coded notes to accurately describe the road ahead, a route often hidden from view by trees, rocks and hillsides. While this is faithfully recreated in-game, you can also use an alternative, simplified pace note system, breaking down the complex language of rallying to simple terms suitable for all players.
From this shot we can deduce that there will be plenty of settings to play around with. Looking at the tab with assist, there are a few interesting things I noticed. For me, the 2 main ones being clutch control and throttle limiter. We will now be able to have the clutch apply automatically, use a manual override or go fully manual. In the past we never really had that final option. Then there's the throttle limiter, which, depending on your settings, can reduce the maximum amount of acceleration in vehicles, making them easier to control. Very interesting indeed. In the game preference tab we can also see some interesting settings. We'll be able to adjust the field of view for both head and external cameras, something many of you have been asking for, as well as 2 types of co-driver calls, the ones we are used to from the past games, but also simplified ones. Both the new assists and the simplified co-driver calls are a great way to help newcomers feel comfortable from the start. Well done, Codies. Oh, FYI, look at the bar on the left, that looks like one hell of a long stage he's tackling. And with that being said, let's watch the outro of the gameplay deep dive video before I end the video.
We are just getting started with our closer look at everything in WRC. Join us again next week where we'll be breaking down everything you need to know about career, builder, moments and every other game mode in WRC. See you then.
See you next week, Molly. And thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if that is indeed the case, feel free to like the video. Want to support Sims Racing even more? Consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. It helps the channel reach more like-minded people such as yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day, good luck and goodbye.